Okay, so we're out here to do a quick rundown on the Win Wiawis NS Limbs. They're new for 2017 by Win. They replace the Wiawis Limbs as being the top of the line for Win. The Wiawis is still made, but this is currently the top of the line limb from Win. So basically, what is this limb? There's a lot of carbon, nanocarbon in the limbs. This side is matte and this side is gloss. Basically what that does is when there's sun shining, it's not going to shine in your face. Now, I was watching reviews about these limbs to see if they're any better, if I'm going to shoot better scores with them. Because, you know, if I could buy some points, let's try and do that. So the look of the limb is definitely different as far as the graphics from the Wiawis limbs or the ones in the past. And from the reviews I read about these limbs, this is the latest in carbon technology. It's meant to be the fastest and the best. So what I did is I put these limbs over the chronograph compared to the PSC limbs, which were basically a Win limb a few years old, through the chronograph, and I got exactly the same speed, 207 feet per second. So I talked to Win about these limbs when they came over, because in 2018 they're releasing a new NS limb, which is a wood core limb. And I said, well, what's the wood core for? And they said there was demand for wood core. And I said, was the wood core better than this foam? And they said, no, the foam is faster and far superior. So it's like, well, what's the deal with these limbs? Now, what Win said was these are the fastest limbs produced. The NS is the fastest. But what they said is this limb is more forgiving to shoot. So I'm guessing they're getting less left and right vibration. But what does that mean to me as an archer? Does it mean I'm going to score more points? So I've been shooting these limbs for a few weeks, and I've shot, you know, the foam limbs, the SF or WNS foam limbs in the past, and I've shot the Wiawis limbs, and I've shot the PSC limbs, which are also a Win limb. Honestly, I can't tell the difference. I can't tell the difference in speed. I can't tell the difference in my scores. And I get this sort of question all the time, well, all these people are shooting these limbs. At the end of the day, these limbs are far superior to my ability. And I'm not saying that from that I'm not a very good shot, or that I am a good shot, or whatever. These limbs are going to shoot the same shot every time, regardless of me. The problem is I don't shoot the same shot every time. Now, they look great. They match the bow. The front of this bow is shiny. The front of the limbs are shiny. They're a nice looking limb and they shoot nice. They're carbon, they're foam, they're not affected by heat. They're a good quality limb. And Win have been making top of the line limbs for so many years, endless years now, and basically they've had very limited problems with them. In fact, in all the time I've been selling them, I can't think of any I've ever replaced. I can think of one which broke, which was the second-hand set of limbs, which was the next Olympian's limbs. That's the only set I can ever think of that had a problem, and that was a few years old. But they're pretty good. Now, are you going to notice the difference between the Wiawis limb and the NS limb? Because they're basically the same price. I'm going to say no, you're not going to notice any difference. I couldn't notice any difference. Now, if you ask the staff shooters about these limbs, they say these are the greatest, latest and greatest. But I think part of that's we've got to promote this, we're getting paid by Win. And I'm not knocking Win. I think Win make great products. Now, for me, why would I buy these limbs over a $200 set of limbs? It's looks. They look better. They've got more technology in them. But honestly, I'm not going to notice the difference. I shot my best scores with the WNS foam limb, and my scores haven't improved. I do shoot some good ends from time to time. And I think, wow, I'm lucky I've got these good limbs. But part of it is in me mentally. I'm basically buying these limbs so I don't have a question about my gear. I know this gear, if I buy these limbs, which let's say are $1,000, $900, that's what the Olympians are using. There's no excuse that I'm not shooting the same scores as an Olympian. But always go back to the fact that in 1990, 1980, people were shooting big scores with wood fiberglass limbs. and I'm talking big scores. So even though these limbs and this bow and these arrows are far superior to what they shot in those years, people still shot really good scores with equipment which was far more primitive than it is today. So do I like the NS Limb? Yeah, I do. I think it feels nice to shoot. I think the sound's good out of it. It looks good. I'm not getting any string wear around the limb tips here, so this is generally a wear area for recurve limbs. I think they look good. I like the fact they're matte on the black, matte finish on the back. But if I had a set of Wiawis limbs which were the same poundage as this, I wouldn't be swapping. I did swap from the PSE limbs which were the same poundage as these for these limbs, and I did that purely for looks. I thought these limbs looked better. My scores didn't change. So all up, the Win Win NS limb, I think it's a beautiful limb. It's top of the range, so the most expensive limb on the market. Now if you're in the business of competitive archery and you're going to championships, well, it may be worth a couple of points to you. I can't say that it is or it isn't. I haven't seen a difference in my scores, but definitely if I was spending money to go to championships and I shoot a lot of, then I would just buy the best stuff, because the difference on between $200 and let's say $900 for a set of limbs is $700, and it's like, well, to go to a championship it's going to cost you far more than that. So for me, I prefer the foam to wood. So the new NS limbs wood that are coming out, I'm not going to be stocking, because wood's always susceptible to twisting and warping and temperature conditions. However, wood limbs are liked by lots of the Japanese and European archers. So in 2018, when they bring out the wood, this is still the current limb, and as far as Win Win is concerned, this is the top limb to buy, but you can go for the wood limb. Now, just on limbs, which is a side thing from it, one of my friends who makes bows, who experiments with different combinations of fiberglass, foam and thing, he said to me when he was making limbs and they tested speeds, they found very little difference between fiberglass and carbon and the different materials. So I would like to do a video where I compare the top of the line limb, the $900 limb, to the $200 limb in speed, and I'll be doing that one sort of in one of my later videos. But overall, if you're buying the NS limb, you're buying it because it looks good and it probably matches your NS riser, this riser that's come out. So you're buying just matching limbs for it, and because it looks good. So, but overall, Win Win produced a nice product. They're virtually bulletproof. I would be amazed if anyone ever had a problem with them. They go through heaps of testing, and I think, frankly, that's why PSE have pulled out of the recurve race. I think Win Win just do so much work on recurves, and they win so many tournaments now. And when I say they win tournaments, you know, I'm going to say the majority of tournaments now won are with Win Win bows. So I'm Stephen Hann. That's the Win Win NS limbs. No improvement in speed. The limbs feel the same to me. But if you want to spend the money because they look good, that's up to you. I did. Thank you. Bye.